Good evening and welcome. I'm Alice Bandukravi. 2 years on from a building fire in East London, which left more than 80 people homeless, residents say they remain in limbo and out of pocket. Some people who lived at the Spectrum building in Dagenham are still paying mortgages for homes that no longer exist. The building was demolished last year after surveyor reports deemed it unsafe. Here's our Work and Money correspondent, Megan Owen.
2 years ago today, flames engulfed the Spectrum building, a residential block in East London. The cause of the fire was never established, but the flames spread rapidly through scaffolding surrounding the building, in place as part of ongoing work to remove cladding. 4 months later, the building was demolished. Today, there is little left but wasteland. But the blaze remains etched in the minds of leaseholders James and Sarah.
It felt really surreal. It because I'm watching my home burn down on the news.
Woke up, saw embers floating outside the front of our flat. My partner opened the front door, the corridor was full of smoke, at which point we ran out of the building just wearing what we had on. I had no shoes on, no socks.
The company that owned the building has since gone into administration, leaving administrators to dish out money for loss and damages. But residents say the process has been painfully slow.
It's just been nice to someone to take responsibility, some accountability, and actually say, right, well, we're going to manage it. We're going to manage this process for you.
We don't know when we'll get any money. I don't know when I'll be able to afford a house, if I'll be able to afford a house. It's just a constant stress dealing with so many different agencies.
Insurance is covering their emergency accommodation for 3 years, but some worry that if compensation hasn't been paid by then, they'll have to pay rent and mortgage on homes that no longer exist. Well, 2 years on from the fire here in Dagenham, there have been a lot of parties involved along the way. The leaseholders, the freeholder who's gone into administration, the government, the Greater London Authority, the administrators, and a lot of back and forth over who should get the money. But so far, there's been no payout.
There's been a real challenge getting monies out of the insurers and the administrators. We're supporting the leaseholders to make sure they get the money back, and they're the front of the queue. We want the leaseholders to get compensation first. Once they've got the compensation, they will then look at how we can try and reclaim some of this money back.
Cladding work on the building at the time, which was never completed, had been funded by a government grant, meaning it could be in line to receive some of the payout. It's urging the building's administrators to resolve the insurance settlements quickly and says more broadly they continue to work to speed up cladding removal. The administrators say they're now applying to the court to approve the first round of payments to leaseholders and creditors, and getting money out to residents as quickly as the process allows is their priority.
Well, Megan is here. Megan, what do you think this tells us about wider building safety?
Well, just a reminder that whilst we don't know what the cause of the fire was, it does speak to the wider picture. And that is because the then Secretary of State for Housing, Angela Rayner, visited the site, spoke to press at the time and said that this showed that cladding remediation works needed to be sped up. So let's just take a listen to that.
I will be making sure that I push the Health and Safety Executive and the building safety regulators and those responsible who own the buildings to make sure that remediation work is carried out as quickly as possible. It's too slow. These are not assets. These are people's homes, and people need to feel safe in their own homes.
So that was Angela Rayner speaking 2 years ago. Where are we today? Well, new figures released actually today show that 4,697 residential buildings over 11 metres are currently being monitored with unsafe cladding. But around 60% of those have not yet been remediated. Now, the government says it continues to work to speed up cladding removal and bring the building safety crisis to an end. But these figures do show that there's still quite a long way to go, Alice.
Definitely. Thank you very much for that, Megan Owen, our Work and Money correspondent. Lots more to come, including...
Everything's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be okay?
This summer's latest Hollywood blockbuster hits our screens aboard a vintage train in Essex. Notting Hill Carnival will mark its 60th anniversary this bank holiday weekend, with the streets of West London set to come alive with music, costumes and celebration. This year, organisers have been given extra funding to provide increased security measures to keep the millions in the crowds safe. Our political editor Carl Mercer has more.
James, Aidan and Andrew are part of the team putting the final touches to this year's carnival safety plans. For the last couple of weeks, they've been out across the route, fitting temporary CCTV cameras to buildings and lampposts. There'll be close to 90 this year, up from 20 a year ago. It's part of a new safety package made possible by a £4.5 million grant from City Hall, after last year's carnival was hit by fears of overcrowding and crushes. It was only saved by a last-minute handout from the Mayor. This year is more planned.
It's always important to get it right, but I think this year is more significant. We've been entrusted, as you know, with additional funding. We've been working really hard to make sure that funding's spent wisely and for the purpose that it was given for. And as you can see, we've been really investing a lot of it in technology as well as personnel. So we're really looking forward to this year.
The extra money will also see a record number of stewards, up from 1,750 to around 3,500, and increased use of these. Last year, there were 14 of these big signs on the route. This year, there will be 40, a simple but effective way to direct crowds.
I always use the example, if you're stuck on the tube in the middle of a tunnel and you're not getting anything, and it might only be 5 minutes, but it's quite agitating, you don't know what's happening, you don't know when you're going to go on. But if there's messaging and you're being told, look, we're held here, it's going to be 5 minutes and then you're going to be on your way, it just calms people down.
This West London warehouse is where most of the new safety kit is being shipped out from. If it's not going onto lampposts on the route, it'll be going to a new control centre for Carnival. This is where organisers and the blue light services coordinate the event, able to monitor every part of the route and spot any potential problems. This year's will be much bigger than last.
We did have a lot of support from the Metropolitan Police, but they're now rightly focusing on their core responsibility, so we're now stepping into the space. I think it's important that the public also know that the Met are not walking away. This is a transitional period that we're going to go through. It's a massive step change for Carnival, and I think it'll be foolish just to go off a cliff edge and, OK, this organisation's doing it now it goes to that. We have taken full control, but we are fully supported by the MPS as well.
The Met Police trialled facial recognition at 2 sites at last year's Carnival, using it to make 60 arrests. It's expected they'll be using it in more areas this year. Carl Mercer, BBC London.
And you can head online for more information on what you need to know ahead of this weekend Notting Hill Carnival. And BBC Radio London will have special programming on Bank Holiday Monday throughout the day. A roundup of some of the day's other news stories now. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of murder in connection with the death of another teenage boy. A 17-year-old victim was stabbed and died in a building housing Brent Council's headquarters and library yesterday afternoon. A Metropolitan Police officer who said he hated homeless people and couldn't wait to taser someone has been sacked from the force. PC Lloyd Hunter was filmed during an undercover BBC Panorama investigation focused on Charing Cross Police Station. And rail services between Southend Victoria and London Liverpool Street have resumed after a train derailed in Wickford earlier this month. All services had been suspended since the 14th of August, when the London-bound train carrying 45 passengers partially came off the tracks. Lowering waiting times for patients at London's A&Es is an ongoing challenge. Extreme summer temperatures have significantly increased demand for urgent care. It means hospitals are having to find new and creative ways to help patients access the care they need. Tolu Adeoye has been to Northwick Park Hospital in northwest London, where they've introduced a new system.
Most of us have been there before. You turn up at A&E expecting to queue to register, queue to be triaged, then queue to be seen. Well, here at Northwick Park Hospital, they've come up with a way to reduce all that queuing with a digital doorway. So it's quite simple. You turn up, you scan the QR code, then you get a series of questions, including your personal details and questions about your condition. Staff can then identify potentially critical cases within minutes.
If I say I've got an illness, we then break it down into which body area, which system it is that's affected. We ask a few basic questions about the problems and then also a few red flag indicators. We now have you on our electronic system, we know that you are here, and also we know why you're here. So the next step is the triage nurse will call you in. They now have their forms pre-populated with all of this information.
Bosses say this system offers increased privacy because you're not having to tell reception about your issues out in the open. It reduces errors and reduces the administration, cutting the queuing time.
I think improving that first initial contact time for patients is crucial. They were waiting for sometimes 30, 40 minutes just to book in and then another wait to see the triage nurse. By using the digital check-in, what we managed to do is eliminate that. Patients are booking in a matter of 2 to 3 minutes, doing a quick self-triage, which means that their overall time spent in the emergency department is significantly less. Now you get an estimation of your waiting time, and patients have that visibility and clarity from the moment they arrive.
Reception staff remain available for anyone unable to use the system for any reason. It's due to launch at Ealing Hospital in October. After that, it will be at Chelsea and Westminster, St Mary's, West Middlesex and Hillingdon. So if this all goes well, you might see the system at the hospital near you soon.
Now for a look at the BBC News app. At Gatwick Airport, travellers are returning to what's left of their cars after a huge fire at a parking facility. Meanwhile, commuters using Thameslink trains through the capital are set to get comfier seats. New cushions and backrests are being added to the carriages from next year. And look at these photographs. From a nosy polar bear to a swift flying above London, the shortlist for Wildlife Photographer of the Year has been announced. More on these and other stories, head to the BBC News app. Now, remembering the country music icon Dolly Parton, London fans and musicians have been paying tribute to the singer, songwriter and actress who died in Nashville at the age of 80. In a career lasting over 7 decades, her legacy lives on in the capital, as Chris Slegg reports.
In 2019, she came to London to launch her 9 to 5 musical in the West End. Despite her immense fame, she always remained grounded.
She was never one of those people that said, "How are you? How are you?" She always said, "I love your shirt. That color looks great on you. I love your hair." She always found something special about you to make you feel special, and it instantly put you at ease.
She firmly believed every child should get the chance to learn to read and created her Imagination Library, gifting young children a book every month. Camden Council was among those to benefit.
I thought it was an incredible way of her to use her fame. I think having the influence she has and focusing on literacy is incredible. And knowing that we've given out nearly 15,000 books since February alone is amazing.
This morning, even the Buckingham Palace Guards played 9 to 5 in honour of Dolly Parton. As loved here in London as she was around the world. Chris Slegg, BBC London.
Now, festival season is in full swing, but there's one thing festival goers would rather do without: the dust. After one of London's driest summers on record, there are concerns about conditions in the capital's parks, with the parched ground underfoot creating some extremely dry conditions. Organisers of All Points East at Victoria Park introduced additional ground protection and dust mitigation measures following problems there last year. But some visitors this year have called it a dust bowl and say they've had to wear masks. Anna O'Neill has the story.
The hot weather is making London parks dusty and dry.
We all know how hot it's been already this year, and it's easy to see why the residents living near this park, with thousands of people coming in and out for the festival, have got a real problem with the dust.
These social media videos from the All Points East Festival last weekend show the dust flying around.
You're somewhat sweating in your flat, and if you try and open your windows, a wave of dust and noise comes in. It becomes rather unbearable, and you can see the dust clouds pretty much anywhere. It's rather noticeable from our flat, and you really don't want to go near it.
There are concerns that more dust is having an effect on nature too.
When we then have a major festival with, huge footfall and massive stages and industrial sized, de-rigging setting up, the soil gets extremely compacted, and that basically creates further stress.
But what effect is this dust having on our health?
These particles are pulverized sand, grass. They will contain environmental bacteria and mycobacterium. Depending on the season, there may be mold spores and pollens within the dust that's floating. And when it goes deeper down into the lungs, it can cause inflammation.
All Points East organisers AEG say they've introduced additional ground protection and walkways on the site to protect the ground and told us we've carried out extensive restoration and reseeding work since late summer 2025 to create a more resilient environment. But some people are worried that if the climate gets drier and festivals get more popular, local communities will feel the impact.
We know that people appreciate the festivals, but we think there has to be about balance and of interests and making sure that the park can sustain the level of activity. And, you know, it's summertime. People want to use the park.
With festivals also this weekend in Battersea, Southwark and Reading, the advice for festival goers is to come prepared with extra water, sunglasses to keep the dust out of the eyes, and maybe even a bandana or mask to stop dust from getting in the mouth and nose. Anna O'Neill, BBC London.
Now, some of us commute so much, we may not even notice the different seat designs on the tube. But one Londoner has made them her specialist subject. Emily Medhurst has gone viral on social media after appearing on Mastermind, answering questions on this very niche subject. We're going to chat to Emily in just a moment. But first, let's see how she got on.
And your specialist subject?
Transport for London maquette.
The history of the carpet-like fabric used to cover the seats of the capital's public transport vehicles. In 2 minutes. Here we go. Which design depicting landmarks such as the Dome of St. Paul's and the London Eye is named after the publicity manager who commissioned moquettes for London transport in the 1930s?
Barman.
Yes, the 1940s moquette known as Roundel or Bullseye was originally attributed to Eddie Chapman, but was later discovered to be the work of which other designer?
Joy Jarvis.
It was Joy Jarvis.
Well, that's Emily Medhurst from Ealing, scoring 8 points on your chosen subject. And I'm so glad that you've joined us this evening. I have so many questions. First of all, I can't help but notice your sweater vest, which you wore on Mastermind. Tell us about it. Is that your favourite moquette? How long did it take?
So this is the overground maquette, which was originally designed by Wallace Sewell. So I just love the colours. It was also something I could knit as well. And it probably took about 100 hours with all the planning and everything in the end. Yeah, it was a bit of a labour of love.
Well, and it's only right that you should wear it not once but twice on telly to show it off. How did you get into this, as I said earlier, niche subject?
Well, I've always been interested in like textiles and design. Grew up in London, loved the tube, loved the design that's part of like TfL. And then I went to an open day at Acton Depot a couple of years ago, and they had a stand there about maquette, and I was like, this is a perfect marriage of my interests. And then going on Mastermind was just a really good excuse to really like delve into the topic.
So tell us about going on Mastermind. I can only imagine that there's a huge amount of pressure. Did you have to revise? Were you nervous?
Yeah, there was a lot of revision leading up. I wasn't too nervous, I think, until the week before, and then it really hit that I was actually going to be on the show. Flew over to Belfast to film it, and that was very nerve-wracking.
And how do you revise in that situation? Were you just going on the tube and on the overground, refreshing your memory, or...?
There's a couple of books out there, and the London Transport Museum has a really great archive as well, so I was kind of using all of that. I recorded it all. I made a podcast that I listened to all the time. I made my partner listen to it all the time. I think everyone was very bored of hearing it by the end, but it obviously worked a little bit.
And remind us how you did in the show.
So I came third. There were amazing contestants in my round who did really good, but I said I want to get at least 7, and I did better than that, so that was good.
And just finally, since you're the expert, what makes a good moquette?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there are some designers that would have some strict rules, but I think a unique design, good use of colour, and just like a really good identity to maybe the line or what it's meant to be representing.
Well, we've seen some wonderful examples here, and of course your own knitted sweater vest. Emily Medhurst, thank you so much for coming in and telling us all about it. Thank you. Now, the stars of Practical Magic 2 will be walking the red carpet in London tonight as the long-awaited sequel gets its UK premiere. Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock return for the follow-up to the 1998 cult classic, alongside Game of Thrones star Maisie Williams. And while it may be a very Hollywood production, there's a little bit of Essex magic in the movie too, with locations used during filming. More now from Laura Foster.
I'm sure you've heard of the Owens family.
The original Practical Magic was set and shot in the USA, but this time, filming has taken them to the Epping-Ongar railway line. Some of the filming took place here on the line, but some of it involved moving a railway carriage nearly 40 miles away to Leavesden Studios in Hertfordshire.
It had some acroprops put underneath it so we could simulate the train moving, so gentle rocking. Yeah, it was very exciting actually to be on a film set. It's not something that everyone gets to do every day.
What was it like being near Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock?
Lovely. Everyone was really friendly, you know, just having a normal conversation with Sandra, sort of, you know, starstruck is amazing.
What were you talking about?
Just generally about the railway and the train carriage and where it came from and what we were about.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay? Just like it was when we had to bury a corpse under a rose bush? That kind of fine, or different?
Meanwhile, the film crew turned a church and graveyard in nearby Lambourne into one from New England.
Carpenters were putting up the false front on the church. They were putting false gravestones in the churchyard. It looked good, and when we came to church on the Sunday, people didn't even notice it.
Both locations were paid money by the film studios. The railway says it wasn't six figures, but it was quite a high figure.
Film jobs and Christmas and visitors coming to see us all helps us make sure that we can carry on telling the story of how Britain's railways moved.
So if you're looking for the exact seats that Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman sat in, well, you need seats 17 and 18. Now, at the moment, they're marked with these paper stars. But the team here are thinking of getting a little plaque put up on the side, just to commemorate their moment in this big Hollywood film.
And looks like there may be more plaques popping up in future.
We are really busy at the moment. We've seen a real uptick in inquiries over the last few weeks.
Who's been in contact with you over the last few weeks?
I couldn't possibly say.
Give us a clue, go on, give it.
I can't say because it's under NDAs.
Rob will also actually appear in the film.
Is your name going to appear in the credits as Train Guy or Rob Bentley?
I don't know is the honest answer to that. I never asked the question.
We'll have to wait until the film is out next week to see if he makes the cut. Laura Foster, BBC Look East, on the Epping-Ongar railway line.
Now, we didn't get that much rain overnight, but is there more on the way? Let's find out from Christopher Blanchett.
Good evening to you. We've had another hot and sunny one today, haven't we? If you were hoping for some rain or showers, you will have been disappointed. Many areas reaching 27 Celsius. Now, we did see a few splashes of rain first thing this morning across the capital, but you can see on the satellite and radar picture that wet weather soon pulled away. And actually, we still have a Met Office yellow warning in force for the chance of thunderstorms for the next few hours, but really they are very much hit and miss, and most of us won't see any at all. So it's a dry start to the night, but there are changes on the way. As we head through the early hours, we're expecting a band of heavy, thundery rain to arrive from the south and move in across the capital, and it will be a warm, humid night, temperatures holding in the mid to high teens. So very wet start to the day tomorrow with that heavy rain. We could well see some localised flooding, poor conditions on the roads, but that rain pulls away fairly smartly, and by lunchtime and into the afternoon, it's dry again, and there'll be some sunshine breaking through, 1 or 2 residual showers. And temperature-wise, around about the mid-20s, so a notch down on today, but still a humid feel. That takes us to Friday, and it's a case of sunshine and showers arriving on southwesterly winds. Some of these showers could be heavy with the odd rumble of thunder at times, and temperatures come mid-afternoon on Friday, a little bit lower once again, around about 22 or 23 degrees, so a somewhat fresher feel. That takes us to the weekend, and we have low pressure nearby, bringing outbreaks of rain on Saturday, fairly widespread. Sunday starts dry with some sunshine, but further rain is expected to arrive from the west through the second half of the day. So you can see through the bank holiday weekend it is rather unsettled, but as we start next week and start a new month, September on Tuesday, it's back to dry weather, but it will be a good bit fresher with afternoon highs reaching 22 degrees.
Well, that's about it from me. Just a reminder that you can see some of those incredible photographs from the Wildlife Photographer of the Year competition on our website ahead of going on display at the Natural History Museum in a few months' time. I will be here later with our 10:30 bulletin, but in the meantime, of course, plenty more stories on the BBC News app. But for now, from all of us here, whatever you're doing, do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.